Welcome back to another episode of Where Joe Throws. This time we find ourselves at Aspen Meadows East playing the red tees. Aspen Meadows is a marvelous property in central Alberta featuring two courses, the Aspen Meadows East and the Aspen Meadows West courses. A full feature video of both of these courses will have to come in the future, but in this video we only have time for the front nine of the East course. So let's make our way to hole 1 and start our round. Hole 1 from Aspen Meadows East. I am playing the red tees today. And from the red tees, this is a par 4. It's 469 feet. For your first shot, you just want to land it down to the middle tree there. Past that tree, you're going to want to turn to the left and then up a little bit of an incline, and you'll see the basket there. Through this tunnel here, you can see where the basket is. I'll be throwing my very old Sidewinder, and there is a slight headwind, but I don't think it's enough that it's going to make a huge difference. So I'm just hoping to put my Sidewinder on a little bit of a hyzer and have it push straight and slowly fade to the left. All right, please be on the fairway. Honestly, I actually think that was a really good shot. You don't want to be over on this right side over here. That's totally danger. And then if you're in any amongst of these aspens here, as it's called Aspen Meadows, there will be a lot of trouble in those aspens. So definitely don't want to be in there either. The fairways are pretty clearly marked, so let's go see where my disc landed. This is an excellent landing zone. I usually try to aim at this tree here. This is like my landing tree, so I would say that I cleared that, got down here pretty good, have a very open look to the basket. So I'm just gonna try and get my shot up there as close as I can with my zone. There is a slight slope after the basket, so I'm gonna try and give it a little bit more touch than speed. Just skip up there ever so slightly. Perfect shot. And we're looking at a birdie for our putt, so that's awesome. Whew, I don't think I've ever been this close to a birdie here at this hole. What a way to start. And one down through one. Generally speaking, if you get a par here, it feels like a birdie, so that feels like an eagle. That was a great way to start. Hole 2, 246 feet, and it is a par 3. Mostly what you need to do on this hole is just make it through the tunnel of trees behind me, and then have your disc fade towards the right. A forehand is really good for this shot, or maybe a backhand turnover. We are still dealing with a little bit of a right to left headwind, so I think I'm gonna go with my felon. Seems like the right amount of distance for it to push straight enough and then fade to the right. I'm just gonna put it on a little bit of a hyzer there. All right, beat it. Whew. I think we skipped decent amount into the woods over there, so I think it's gonna be a tricky upshot, but we made it through the tunnel, and that's usually the hardest part to get through. So I definitely did make it into the woods, but I do have a clear line to the basket. I would say I'm probably at like just outside of the circle. Yeah, I just want to be mindful of these branches up here, just not to have anything go too high and hit those. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and kind of straddle jump one of these in there. Oh, hit some chains, but not today. Whoa, careful for the trees. All right, we'll just tap this one in for a par. Hole 3 is 465 feet. And from the red tees, it's actually a par 5. What you want to do is just hit this gap and get all the way down the fairway if you can. There's a really good landing zone. It's like a little bridge that you have to cross over, but that would be a really good spot to get your first drive. And then from there, you just want to curve it down into the left there. So yeah, this is a pretty tricky hole if you don't get off the tee really well, but your first shot matters a lot, and then your second shot matters even more. So I'm going to be throwing my Pro Strike on a little bit of a hyzer. A miss for me often is to pull to the right, so I don't want it to get to the right. Just want to put it on a little bit of a hyzer, have it push up to flat and stay straight, and then subtle hyzer finish. So, whew, that was a very lucky kick. I could have gotten sucked into those trees and just dropped right there, but it actually kept pushing forward. So I might actually have a look at a good second shot. So we'll go see. Okay, so as you can see, I am a little bit off the fairway here. Not gonna try and get too terribly much distance. I'm gonna be throwing a forehand felon on an Annie. Hopefully that just drops, yeah. Nice. Right, I'm gonna have to place my mini because I'm gonna use the same disc. I'm hoping just to throw a felon straight out there. This hole does go straight and then all the way down the hill to the left. It is possible to get through there, but it's a little bit of a sucker's gap. Like, you have to get pretty lucky to get down the fairway, and I'm just hoping to keep a clean round, so just gonna throw it out wide. That should be good. Remember, it is a par 5, so I'm trying to just chip away at the course. If I can get lucky with a birdie, then great, but I think we're just gonna take a 5 and move on. I'm just gonna take a putter and just kind of give it a half throw through this little tunnel here. Gonna be tricky because there's definitely a lot of foliage, but if I hit down there, it should be like a 20-foot putt, so we'll see. Okay, yeah, we made it through. That looks pretty good, and we'll go get our par. This is definitely a hole you want to get a birdie on, but just take your medicine, just get your par and move on. Hole 4, it's 190 feet and it is a par 3. All it is a very simple straight shot with a fade to the left. Just throw in a zone, straight and flat, and hope that it hyzers straight to the pin. That should be perfect. Perfect. It's definitely one you need to get going into the rest of the front 9. It gets a little trickier, so to have a little bit of a buffer is kind of nice. Hole 5, it's 223 feet, and it's straight down all of these trees that you have to contend with. There's quite a few. And then it fades off towards the right, and it kind of slopes down a little bit of a hill. So yeah, a forehand or a backhand turnover is perfect here. You just don't want to get hung up on either side, left or right of the trees. Just try to stay on the fairway and you should be good to go to get your 3. I'll be throwing a forehand felon, just kind of flat, but what I'm hoping to do is just have enough push to go straight. And then you see these 2 kind of skinnier trees in the middle of the fairway. Once you get past that, you can go to the right and you'll be looking at probably a putt for birdie. So, oh boy. Okay, so we have a putt to the basket. It's probably around 20-25 feet. Yeah, it looks like I'm just gonna have to straddle again. Nice. Snagged a 2. Hole 6, it's 371 feet from the red tees, and it's also a par 3. I like to throw something straight to a little bit of a hyzer and have it go straight and then just hyzer finish into the middle of those trees, beating this large big tree here in the front. After that, it's just a simple little approach. But if you get farther past that tree, awesome, then you're looking kind of at like a little bit of a jump putt. I'm going to be throwing my pro strike on a little bit of a hyzer. We do have a little tailwind going on, so I'm just hoping to put it on a little bit of a hyzer, have it push straight, and hopefully not fade too much to the right and just kind of crash into the middle like I said. Oh boy. Come on, go. Oh, okay. I'm actually on the left side of the fairway and it doesn't look too bad over there. I made it through quite a bit of stuff, but yeah, definitely not what I was going for. I was going for like hitting something over here. I just kind of early released. I think I have an easy approach coming up, so it should be okay. So I don't know if you can even see the basket from here, but it's just behind this one big, or I guess the medium-sized tree right in the middle of the fairway here. Here's where I landed. Definitely not the game plan, but I mean, I'm really close to get up there, so I'm just hoping to pitch something up with a forehand and have a look at par. Crash through, or on the other side. Yeah, perfect. Oh, and a nice little roll. Beautiful. There we go. Oh. This is a hole you want to get a par on. It's definitely easy to get off the fairway here and have a tricky upshot, so that feels good. Hole 7, 322 foot par 3. There's definitely some elevation here off the tee box. I can barely see over this little hill here, so it's definitely a little bit of a tricky hole to start with. I usually like to throw something pretty understable just to give the lift and have it carry up the hill, and it kind of fades off to the right. There's a little bit of a grouping of trees that you have to navigate, and then you can see the basket. But yeah, it's not too tricky. It's kind of straight down there, but this uphill situation is definitely hard to start off with. So yeah, I'm just throwing my Roadrunner because it does fade off to the right a decent amount. Just gonna try and hit it on a little bit of angle, but not too much. So hope it just fades back into the fairway. I mean, if we don't hear anything, that's a good sign, which I didn't hear anything. So it should just be landing kind of right in middle of the fairway, I'm hoping. So, oh my goodness, I'm super stoked on this shot. To get past these two massive trees right here that you saw at the beginning of the fairway, or the beginning of the tee shot, I guess, to get past those is huge. So now I just have a little chip Annie forehand up to the pin, and it should be a pretty easy three. Awesome. Couldn't have dreamed that up better. Just a tap in for a par. That is how you draw that one up. That feels so good. Hole 8 from the red tees is 302 feet and it is a par 4. It is a little bit tricky because there is OB on the left and on the right. So there's a landing zone just up this corner here, and it's pretty skinny landing zone. So what I usually do is just throw a zone up until that spot, and then to the fairway is a little, it's probably about 150 foot, like a forehand zone for me. I just try to chip it out that way and just take away with a birdie, but you could go the aggressive route and you could try and put something just all the way down to the fairway and to the green and try and get into the circle, but it is a tight circle. So I like to play it safe, but there's both options and you could run away with an eagle potentially. So yeah, I'm just gonna take my zone and pitch it up there. Oh, please be good. So here's the landing zone and you can see how skinny it actually is. I'm barely in bounds, but we did it, so that's good. I'm gonna just chip up a forehand up into the green and then take away a birdie, hopefully. It is a very skinny landing zone up there, so I'm just gonna keep it in bounds. That's the hope. Oh my gosh, I almost threw that in. This hole is brought to you by the Discraft Zone. We've made it to hole 9, and hole 9 is 243 feet uphill and it's a par 3. We do have barbed wire over on the left-hand side, which is OB, so you don't want to go in that. Also, this tree up here, you have that to contend with as well in the middle of the fairway. So if you can have something that goes to the right of that or get past it somehow, that's kind of your best bet. Anything that goes past that tree, you're looking at a 3 or 2. I'll be throwing my Roadrunner here. Now kick off that, please. Oh, perfect little kick. I was nervous there for a minute talking about that barbed wire and then it came into play, but I think we'll be okay. I don't like to get too terribly aggressive on this hole. The right side is kind of dangerous and you could be looking at a 4 if you get in there. And then on the left, like I said, there was OB. So I'm happy with where I am. It's just a quick little jump putt up there. If I make it, great. If not, I get away with a 3, so. Yeah, not mad about that at all. This course is just, it's one of those things where you just have to avoid your bogeys because, yeah, they'll come here and there. But if you sneak away with birdies and pars, you're doing great. Thank you guys so much for watching this far. That concludes the front 9 of Aspen Meadows Red. Thank you again to all of you who like, comment, subscribe, all of those YouTube things. That means a lot to us. So thank you for doing that. And then also lastly, thank you to Rudy and his family for maintaining this beautiful property that we get to come and enjoy for Falcon's Flight, or just to come enjoy just casually. It is a hidden gem in Alberta and we are so grateful for it. So thank you so much and take care everyone. See you in the next one. Bye.